How I roll into episodes, like this part will probably be in the podcast. We just roll right into it. So yeah, it's just kind of how we do it. Welcome back, everybody, to Eric the Painter, hosted by Eric, who's not really a painter. We're doing an interesting episode here today. It's currently 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. I agreed to this podcast with Mr. Mike Gore-Hickman, and about 30 minutes before, I was like, what am I doing, man? This is my bedtime. Like, what are we doing here, man?
We're a week leading up to Expo. Things are just kind of crazy, and we want to just kind of have fun with this. So we're like, hey, let's just if we do it after hours, it kind of takes the pressure off of having to, I don't know, take an hour during the day, and then you got.
That's what we'll tell ourselves.
Yeah,
that's what we'll tell ourselves. But it is the week leading up to Expo. It's certainly a crazy week, at least on our end, for all sorts of things, not necessarily Expo related things, at least on our side. I don't know about you, but yeah, Mike, welcome to the podcast. It's a fun time. This is what we do. Dude, I don't know. I was kind of thinking about, like, I don't know, what do we want to talk about in this podcast? And I kind of wanted to start here, man. Like I've heard, I don't want to go through like your whole story and journey. People can go listen to all the other podcasts you've been on and all that sort of stuff. But like, dude, you were a painter at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and now I'm a painter. Yeah. And now I'm a painter. And I know you've kind of talked about this before, but like, I'd love to like actually go back, because like even just for myself, I'm curious. Like, actually go back. You running a painting business, like, what was it like? Like, what did you hate? What did you love? Because like now I'm doing that thing.
Yeah, you know, you're in the fire now. It's funny, in the last 2 days, maybe 3 days, I've gotten into 2 like pretty heated comment sections on Facebook.
Oh, gotta love them, right?
Yeah, on my ads actually, and one of them, and I'm like, if someone can like prove me, like not prove me wrong, but like open my eyes and educate me on these 2 topics, then I'm more like, I'm open to it. The first one was with a union painter who.
Those are always fun.
Feels that the union is the only way to operate a painting business. And if you want to make money, you got to work for the union. And if you want to run a good ethical business that treats its painters right, you have to have union painters. And I was kind of like pushing back on that. Like, I don't think that that's at all true. But so that was like, I have a room for, I'm open to being educated there. And the other one was someone who was very adamant that I know nothing about painting, and I'm not a painter because I'm not a master of architectural science, and I don't like study like flow dynamics and materials and all of this stuff. Like, I know how to paint walls and trim and doors, but that doesn't make me a painter because I don't dedicate my life to the craft.
Just today, I deleted somebody from my Facebook. And I normally don't do that. Normally I let the haters hate a little bit. I respond to them, but this one, he started just getting personal on stuff. But yeah, I started saying that I'm a bad person that doesn't care about his team, and I'm a jerk, and I'm a this and a that, because I want to operate a business and travel and see places of the world and the rest of the country, and not just paint with his guys every single day.
How dare you?
I was like, that's an intense statement.
Or the people, it's like, if you're not on the tools with your guys, you're a bad leader.
Yeah, I was like, I could make a lot of arguments that's the other way. But yeah, when like half that paragraph was like about my character as a person, I'm like, I don't even know who this guy is. Like, we'll just
I mean, to go back to me starting my painting business, so I did it with a student painting organization back in 2011. I think 2010 or 2011 started my company, and I got recruited in. Thought it was, I was sold a dream of you can make money, and the way that these student painting businesses work, and they get a bad rap, but they're pretty.
Dude, so hot take I've recently had, because I've met more and more people that started in student painting business franchises. Now they are in their own painting businesses, or they run a coaching program, or they run this. Dude, I actually think that the student, like the college pros, the whatever, in terms of how to go create a business course, it might be in especially a painting business, like going in, that might be one of the best ones out there. The college franchises are the ones I see teaching how to recruit W-2 painters. So you're learning leadership. Like those franchises have created some champions
Hmm.
in the aftermath.
I mean, just in the market, just Jason Paris comes to mind. He's doing 10
Yeah.
million a year, 8 figures in residential repaints
I think
coming from.
Barstow started out
Yeah,
some sort
yeah,
of student
Barstow
painter,
did.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a ton of them.
So I learned it as a business student, and I learned the trade of painting during my second year university or third year or something like that. And it was like going through the fire. I mean, there was parts of it that I was really good at. Like I was good at the finance. I was good at the marketing. Like I could door to door your lights out, like I could do all that. I could get jobs. I could book them. Actually, it took me a long time to book my first job. My first job was disastrous, like a $500 fence, and I was so pumped to get it. Just about lost my shirt on that. But the part that was probably the most challenging to learn was just training painters, and their
Yeah,
their model was to train students. So you're taking
right.
other like 19 and 20 years old kids, and you're trying to teach them how to paint on someone else's house that you've sold. Like they're not doing training projects. These are projects that the customers are paying for. So that's probably the sliver where student painting gets a bad rap, because there will be some projects that turn out bad, but there's some projects that turn out bad when you're professional freaking painters, right? Like,
Also true. Yeah.
yeah. So that was fun, learning that skill. But I do think that taught me a lot about humans and about personal development and teaching people and transferring skills. Like if you can teach a student how to be a painter in 7 days, you can pretty much teach anyone anything. And you learn like
Yeah.
systems. You learn about systems and processes and formulas and frameworks. And once you start transferring knowledge and you learn how knowledge can be transferred and what percentage people intake the first time versus the second time, like it's just everyone should go through some sort of experience like that. Very
Yeah.
valuable.
Yeah, no, it absolutely makes sense. And like I said, it matches what I've seen. Another guy comes to mind that, we were talking to potentially onboarding as a client, and he was student painting franchise, whatever, first, and now started his own thing. He knows all his numbers, has his projections, his goal setting, all that sort of stuff, and has been through some of those same experiences, trained painters, etc. So it all makes sense, and I see how it's such good training. Um, that business did well for you, right? It grew, and you
Yep.
had some impressive numbers in it.
Yeah. By my third year, we were doing just shy of about 200,000 a month. So I think I had 5 crews, all W-2s, except on one project I hired like a crew of subs, but pretty much all in-house employees. And inflation adjusted, actually, I just ran the numbers the other day. I used like an inflation calculator. It would be like
Yeah.
340 a month.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot of production hours. I think it was like 4,000 production hours a month or something.
Jeez.
Yeah. But it was good
Uh,
operation. I mean, I took all the systems that they taught me, and then I had to like rebuild them for like that size of business.
yeah. Yeah. Because I can imagine your average student painter franchise probably wasn't quite. You were probably pushing the. Did they have like a rankings? Like, do you know like where you were in the whole country with the franchise?
Yeah. And of this, yeah, I do. So I ended up getting second,
Ah.
but the person who got first was kind of like, I would say he got first through unethical means. Like he was like second on the leaderboard all year, and then like the day that it was closed down or whatever it was, he found 60K. Like, wow, you're
Oh.
really close with your with your GM. So,
Hmm.
so I got, yeah, but anyway, I I I have come to terms with that over the last 13 years or 10 years or whatever it's been. Like I'm okay with that now,
Good.
because
I'm glad you're not still holding that grudge.
no, it's all about like what do they say, like you need to like not prove your haters wrong with your words, but like be more successful than them or something like that. There's some sort of
I don't know what quote you're
term or
referencing
like
there.
phrase where it's like like, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, we'll just
we're doing all
sidestep
right.
that one for now. Uh, so, like the very obvious question, and I know you talked about this a little bit before, but I wanna go a little deeper here. Just like selfishly, I'm really curious, right? Obviously, I know you moved, and painting businesses are local, and you had more of an opportunity and more of a interest and a passion for coaching other painters and helping them and everything. And I know you were in the marketing agency spot for a while, and then kind of transitioned to coaching, more just coaching. Like, why not reopen the paint business? Like, did you not enjoy it? Like the real talk. Did you? Because
Yeah.
I'm in it now. There's parts that suck. There's some amazing parts that I love, but
Yeah.
there's parts that suck where you just like, I don't like it. This doesn't fit my lifestyle. Like, what made you not want to do it again?
So what happened is, for people who know Canadian geography, I ran my painting business in Saskatoon, which is in Saskatchewan, which is like kind of north of Denver ish
Yeah.
in the prairies. And then my girlfriend at the time, we've been dating for like 6 months. She got a transition through her job to Edmonton, which is like a 5-hour drive away. And this was in like May of my third year of painting. And so I basically painted all that summer and like ran my big business. And she was living in Edmonton. We're doing a long distance thing. And then in September, I was just like finishing up all my exterior work, like making the decision: do I keep going or do I move to Edmonton? And I'm just like, I got to follow the girl.
Hmm.
So we're married now and we have 2 kids. So it wasn't,
Hey, it was a good
I was gonna say,
decision.
which way did
Yeah.
that go?
yeah. So that was a good decision.
Nice.
But got to Edmonton with all intentions to start up my painting business again. Went more like I started up with a friend of mine and we started doing some commercial projects. We were doing some apartments, doing a lot of boom lift stuff. Got a few like department stores like Bye Bye Baby and a couple of those. And things were going well to start. But then I got an opportunity to work for this online startup. So a friend of mine from the college pro painting days, actually, he was another like big dog. He called me. He's like, hey, we've started this like online software/marketing company, and we need some people on the ground floor. And I was like, this is a really cool opportunity. How often do you get something like this? So I hung up the brush, went all in on this. And I mean, within 3 years, we helped them scale to like 10 million a year. So it was a cool opportunity to kind of get in on the ground floor of a software company that was growing really quickly, and got to be with them and help them grow really quickly. And I found like it was an opportunity to learn a completely new set of skills instead of continuing to hone the set of skills that I already had.
What was it like leaving the business in Saskatoon? Painters you probably made relationships with over years,
Oh yeah.
right? People you provided jobs for. Did you pass the business off to somebody else and say, hey, here, now you run this? Was it just like, sorry guys, I'm not doing this anymore? What
I
did
mean,
that
most of
all look
my
like?
most of my painters were like seasonal. Like I had some painters ready to go into the fall, but most of them were summer, like
Because heavy
students. And
exterior.
yeah, heavy
Well,
exterior
yeah, part
season.
time in school, I
Yeah,
guess.
so that
Yeah,
wasn't
it wasn't
a
a career
huge.
for them.
No, no, not really. But I had some painters that were like, "All right, let's go. Like, what are you doing this winter? Like, let's roll." So there was like a little bit of that, but I mean, when it's like a big personal move like that, like I was pretty close with my guys. Like they understood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that wasn't a huge moment or anything. But yeah, I was stoked. I was stoked to go try out a new city. And for anyone who's like moved to a new city from their hometown, like it's awesome going to a different city for a little while.
I've seen, not often, but I've seen a couple people in the paint space have a big opportunity like that to do something whatever, and it's naturally very scary, right? To leave this business and you feel like you owe it to all these people, to the clients you have deposits for, to all these people you've built relationships with for years, and I think sometimes people kind of feel trapped in that. Right? I mean, I probably would.
I mean, I was in a fortunate position where I had an opportunity come to my lap, and at the same time, I wasn't like full 2 feet into painting at the time. Like we had a dozen projects or something booked, and we were working. We had some contractors, but I was actually painting a lot at that time too. Like I just hadn't really like made the network. I
In
don't know what it was.
Alberta,
Yeah.
like, but I was talking back in Saskatoon before you
Mm.
moved.
What was
Like
the
you weren't
question?
painting then. You were doing
No, I wasn't painting at all then.
200,000
But
adjusted for inflation, 340.
when I moved to Edmonton, I was painting on some of these big commercial sites. I mean, thinking back, I think I was just probably pretty immature. Like I was still 23. Yeah, I ran a good business, but you're still developing when you're in your early 20s. How old are you now? You're like,
Definitely past
okay,
development.
all right. So I
No,
think I was
25,
I
25,
think I was
26 in a couple months.
still like developing, still a little immature, but got a new opportunity and shifted. And I mean, without that shift, I wouldn't be able to have the skill set that I have right now to be able to
Mm.
lead a remote team of 20 people and learn like how to manage projects online, how to be effective, and how to communicate, across departments and get things done. Like it was really vital to be for like the development of painter growth.
Yeah. Yeah. And I believe that. Does part of you wish you still had a painting business in some capacity, just to like have a finger on the pulse of like the current market, what sales frameworks, whatever?
I don't think that's necessary. So do I sometimes miss painting? Sometimes, but I feel like I'm really close to the fire with how close I am to many of my clients
Yeah.
and our coaches. Like our one top coach, Jesse, he runs a $1.5 million painting business. He has a GM now, so he works about an hour a week. But anything that we have going on, he tests in his business. So that's kind of like my painting arm,
Yeah.
or my
It's your
painting
vehicle.
division. Yeah, so we get the testing. He's really communicative, really good at implementing things, and so that keeps me close to the fire. And then like I said, I'm really close with my clients. I feel like I'm on the job site a lot of the time.
Yep. Been there 100%. I totally feel that too.
What do you think
Um,
you miss the most when you're like, sometimes, yeah, I do. I miss painting. What
The
aspects
biggest
of
thing
it?
is for sure the connection with the community.
really?
Yeah, like there's
I would
just
not have expected you to say that.
so much less of that when you're like working online. I have a great team, great, like partners like you guys, and like you and Tanner and Austin, and like a lot of good like industry friends, right? And we can have good relationships like this. We're going to go hang out at the expo. We'll probably hang out another time this year. Um, and that's cool. And then I meet with my team, touch out with my team every single day, talk with the clients every day. But like none of this is in my city.
Hmm.
Right? I can't go to the grocery store and like see homeowners that I know and like strike up conversations. So there is like a level of disconnect from the
Your
community that I
local
do
community.
miss. Yeah. So now that we've just moved to a new city just like a couple weeks ago, I'm actually back home in Saskatoon after being gone for 10 years. I'm gonna make like we just moved like 2 weeks ago. So I'm making a really diligent effort to get like connected with like the business owner, the entrepreneurship community in the city, just so I can get that community connection a little bit, because it's
Yeah,
important.
it is. I totally get that. I mean, Corinne already knows, right? It's ironically been something I've struggled a lot with in Cleveland, and it's mostly been probably my own self doing. Right, I haven't made much of an effort to create a community here because I already have my community spread out throughout the rest of the world. I have tons
Mm.
of friends in like most of my communities in Medellin. I have a portion of that in Miami and Atlanta and Austin and Denver. Um, just through the online community I've built over the last 4 years, right? Those are the hubs where everybody is. And I think because of that, I've also, and there's not much about the city of Cleveland that excites me. So I've been resistant, I think,
Yeah.
to start some of that here. And it certainly made it more lonely. Um, but it's interesting hearing you say like, that's the part you miss most about it. Cause to me, I'm like, I'm just thinking like scalable business, right? In my painting business. So I'm not trying. If I'm like, like something like real local embedded in the community, I'm like, I don't know. I want to do that because it's not as going to be as scalable, right? So it's really interesting hearing you say that's the part you miss the most.
Yeah, I might be past that thought around like scalable business, because I mean the vehicle that I'm in right now is a very scalable business, and we've been able to see some pretty good scale over the last 2 years since starting Painter Growth, 2.5 years. So I feel like that having to scratch that scalable business itch is kind of out of my system.
Yeah. Yeah. And not even that it's scalable as well, but like, yeah, scalable and without me. And I'm like, man, like if I start getting real involved in the community, parts of that might get harder,
Dude, ask Jason Paris how that went for him.
Yeah, no, there's 1,000% people that have done that. I don't know. I've been more resistant to it.
I mean, everything is a system. It can be broken down to a system and a process, and as long as you have the right people in place, I mean, any online business is just as scalable as an offline business, except for like software. Any
Right.
service-based business is pretty similar, that requires like people to implement. Just the cool thing about an online business is that like your recruiting arm can be anywhere. Like
Anywhere
our
in the
head
world.
coach Zach, he actually operated a $20 million painting division for a franchise company, and he lives in freaking uh, Portugal.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's got his kid there, his sister lives there, his wife's there. Like he just lives in Portugal, and he just works for us and for some other stuff. Like it's awesome. But I
Killer.
couldn't work for him if I was just running a painting business here. Like he would never come here to like be my
Exactly.
GM or like be a whatever. So
Exactly.
there's definitely some limitations for local.
Yeah. No, most definitely. Definitely. Coaching painters. I do some of that here and there. It's got some ups and some downs. What are your favorite parts about it, and what are the parts, man, that suck?
So actually, a couple of days ago, my wife said something to me, Amanda. She's awesome.
Shout out Amanda.
She'll never listen to this, but but she's great. She's good. She's my biggest cheerleader, and she said something really cool the other day, and it was, "I love what you're doing. I love what you built because you're not helping the rich get richer, but you're helping like people who need it the most, and like everyday people change their lives."
Yeah.
And it's like the way she phrased it was really cool because it's like the people that get the big. I'm going to talk about my boy Elijah. Elijah came in. He had a lawn company. He wanted to get into painting. He knew how to paint, didn't know how to start a painting company. He joined in like June of last year. I think had done $10,000 of like lawn repair. He's in West Virginia, poorest state in the nation, right? He'll tell you that.
Yep.
He did about $10,000 of lawn care between January and June last year. He joined up, and then between June and December, he produced $200,000 of painting contracts.
Killer.
He bought a brand new car. First time anyone in his family has ever owned a brand new car. And he's like, "Hey, guess what, Mike? I just bought a brand new iPad. I didn't even have to check my bank account before I bought it." Right. And so like literally life changing. And that's
Yeah.
just like one of like dozens and dozens of stories like that. And it's cool to be able to have that impact. And so when people ask me, it's like, "Hey, why don't you get back in painting? Like that would add so much credibility to you." I would never have the same impact. I can't change someone's life like that with painting. And that's like nothing negative about
Disrespect.
painting. There's
Yeah.
no disrespect there. It's just the impact that I can have with coaching and this unique skill set that I have that not everybody has. I can have a huge impact, and I've been having a huge impact. And I can say that humbly and with so much gratitude for my clients who've trusted me, especially the early ones before I had like logos or fancy sites or fancy marketing or a team. It's like, "Hey, you give me some money and I'm going to teach you how to get jobs." And they're like, "Okay,
All right.
don't screw me over."
Yeah.
and they did. And that allowed us to keep growing. And it's just been a really fulfilling business. And I hope I can keep doing it for years and years.
Well, it's interesting. One of the things I've actually found a lot of fulfillment on that same level from the painting business specifically, because it's almost like you come more down to the basic level, and it's like, man, this person who, like with your actual painters, right? This person who, and I'm not necessarily on the college hiring model, but it's like you hire this person that they've been screwed over by boss after boss after boss. They have an incredible skill set. They're very talented, and they've never really been able to make more than 20 an hour consistently or whatever. And you can pull them in. They have an organized business. They know the address they're going to every day. They get paid on time on Friday, no questions asked, W-2. They can go get a loan, and they have a bonus structure, and they're averaging 23 an hour in their first month. And they're just like that is such an impact for them. And then they get promoted to job site manager and have a van. And it's like, dude, like you're making it's a different impact. Cause I've felt both, right? It's very different. But to your point, like, not to knock the painters, and for anybody listening, like, there's certainly a lot of very valuable impact to be had on the other side. It's just much different.
That's true. Then you know what? I never thought of that because I had never experienced that, changing a painter's life from that. But being that, responsible leader who's organized and, like you said, pays on time the amount that they paid, and there's always work on Monday. That's like a lot of my team now. Like we have some team members down in South America, and they're like, we've never had a boss that like I can take time off and like give bonuses. And like I bought some of my team computers and power sources and all this stuff. And they're like, "What is this?"
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think especially with painters, Corinne, maybe you're about to say it, right? So many of them have just been screwed over so many times before. so many times. Like one of our job site managers now came to us and like hadn't been paid for like 2 months from a previous employer. It's like, that's crazy. So yeah.
Wouldn't happen in the union.
Yeah.
No, what I was gonna say is when you're like, oh, I have a boss that allows me to take time off. Something that happened this week that was kind of cool to.
Because Eric asked you to work at 9:00 at night.
Yeah.
For the podcast.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah,
told her it was
yeah.
optional. And
Yeah.
when you postponed it a little bit, when you're like, hey, can we push it back a few? I was like, Corinne, if you don't want to come, like, you don't have to. He was like, no, that's
Yeah.
fine. I was like, grab a glass of wine if you want, do your thing, whatever.
Yeah, I used to have those bosses that allowed time off. Now I don't. No, I'm just kidding. But there was, we have a request off channel in our Slack, and one of the painters put in that they wanted off for the eclipse that's coming off, or that's coming up in April. And
Yeah.
our project manager was like, is that an allowable, like, excuse, like, to miss work? And Eric's response was, absolutely. One of the things that I value here is whatever jazzes people up or whatever fulfills people, whether it's like a concert or festival that you want to go to and you asked off for, or whether it's somebody's, they want to see the solar eclipse. They're both valid, and we want to give room for that here. So absolutely, they put in enough notice, and yeah, they're going to be off to see that. So I don't know. I thought it was cool. So it is, to your point, oh, I've never had a boss that lets me have time off, kind of had one of those moments this week.
Nice.
Where they're not used to that. So
that is on my bucket list. Actually, I'm a big space nerd, believe it or not. I would love to see
Dude,
eclipse in person.
So actually, dude, look this up. I don't know what type of eclipse it is, but there's an eclipse like one of the weekends in April here.
Yeah, April 8th, I see it. It's like all the way across the states. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Texas,
parts like
Maine.
Cleveland is one of the best cities to view it in. My brother's Airbnbs have been booked up for like 5 times the rate like 4 months ago. Like people are coming to Cleveland for this. And I feel I probably actually won't even be in Cleveland for it, ironically. But it's like a once in 150 year thing, like crazy. So
wicked.
If you're a space nerd, you should see it.
I should see that. I think I don't know.
Just
I'm
don't
not
look
traveling
directly
in
at
April.
the sun.
Yeah, you got to get the special glasses. I'm not doing anything in April. Maybe I
Or the
can,
cardboard box thing or something.
You got a coach for me?
Yeah, my brother's got a couple Airbnb. I mean, I can be here. You can just have my apartment.
It's on record.
It is.
You know what? I've been meaning to actually go visit Cleveland. My Sherwin rep has been bugging me, so
come on down, man.
There's an opportunity.
Come on down. You can see the paint business. You can give me
share a really
some painter
special
growth
moment.
tips. Yeah.
See if I can get in with the the president of Resri at Sherwin, watch an eclipse with him.
Dude, that would be pretty cool. Invite me to that party. Dude, I called we did a walkthrough the other day, and I'm still doing a couple walkthroughs with my project manager just as we're training on him a little bit. And the lady whose job we sold, her nephew owns, or not owns, but is a store manager for a Sherwin. And I knew that going in, and it was in our notes and whatever. And we're talking with her. She's like, yeah, he runs a commercial store. And our store manager just got promoted and moved to a commercial store. I was like, oh, it's not the one in Avon, is it? Whatever. And she's like, yeah. I was like, no way, it's Sam. It happened to be the same person. Anyways, long story short, I call him on the way back. I was like, yo, guess who we just did a walkthrough with? And his first guess, he's like, the CEO of Sherwin. I was like, that guy lives in Cleveland? Like, what? Apparently he actually does. And he knows where he lives. So, I mean, I may have insider information. We may be able to go door knock him a little bit, give him our pitch. Come watch the eclipse with us.
That was very presumptive of you. It's a she. Her name's Heidi.
Yes. Okay. Actually, I did know that. That was my fault.
Brand new, January 1st, 2024.
Yes.
So she's less than 2 months in.
Yeah, she was, I forget, she was high up before and got promoted. I forget her exact title and stuff before, but yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So dude, what's the hardest part of coaching painting contractors? Like if I was a painting contractor joining a coaching program right now, like what would your tips be to see the most out of that program? And I don't totally love that question, but like I think you get what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's the hardest part for you coaching painters? And if you could just like instill this one thing in them to help them be more successful with coaching programs and masterminds and courses and stuff, like what would it?
I mean, I think you probably base the spirit of this question off of your video the other week about like how to work with marketing agencies, right? Look at a marketing agency as your like a partner in marketing, not like someone who works for you, but someone who you work with, right? Kind of like that spirit.
I guess
So
so. Yeah, I don't even totally know what I'm trying to ask.
I mean, when I first started Painter Growth, which was not Painter Growth at the time, but anyway, when I first started this coaching program, when I thought that if I told painters what to do, they would just go do it because they paid me to learn.
Yeah.
And I found that that was not the case. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, here's a bunch of money. Tell me what to do. And then I tell them what to do and they proceed to not do it. Right. And so this was probably my my learning curve with how to be. I've never taken education. I'm not a teacher. Right. So there's like a lot of education theory that I don't know. And I mean, I know how to transfer skills in person to a painter and like teach someone to paint who doesn't know how to paint, but to teach someone and to motivate someone, even if they are self-proclaimed self-motivated, it's actually not as easy as it sounds. So I had to learn how much I can teach someone at one time. And while I'm teaching them, how to continually remind them of their whys so that they do the hard thing. So for example, one of our many things that we teach, one of the tactics is, surprise, surprise, we do teach door-to-door marketing, but we teach it in a way where we want to help get the owner off of that task as quickly as possible so they can hire, actually, you don't even have to hire students. You can hire full-grown men and women to do it because you can actually pay them a lot of money because it can be very lucrative. But anyway, we want to teach them how to set up those teams and how to train people and how to transfer that skill. But to transfer the skill of transferring skills is like hard. They need to learn the thing first. So it's just about like, I had to figure out the little tiny bits that I could teach someone at a time and get them to go do. Get them a little win, come back, learn another thing. Get them a bigger win, come back, learn another thing. Get them a bigger win. And so as we've done that with now over 400 painting contractors, I think we've got a pretty good system on like how to actually get people to take action. The hardest thing though is figuring out when someone is like doing really well or on the brink of overwhelm, especially and painting contractors are not big sharers, right? Not big emotional, like, hey, here's heart on my sleeve.
Yep.
So understanding when they're at the brink of overwhelm and almost like calling that out before they even tell us so that we can help them proactively. So that's been pretty cool to kind of learn how to do that. There's some indicators that we've kind of identified to help us figure that out. We're not perfect yet, but and then having the systems help break it down for them. I'm like, okay, here's how to get a control of your time. You're too overwhelmed. Here's how to like get everything out of your brain and prioritize and like still get production done and all this stuff. I don't know if I answered your vague question, but I went for it.
No, I mean, as somebody that is often having very similar conversations with painters, for maybe others listening going, that doesn't seem like that tricky, whatever. It is like, it's very difficult. And you articulated it extremely, extremely well. And even then easier said than done. Right. So I totally resonate. It makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Are there common themes that you get from, your painters that you're working with as to why they're not implementing what you're instructing them to do? Like resistance to change or just logistical reasons?
Because I do think that's a reality, right? If you look at the online education space, and it's less with like a coaching program, especially a good coaching program, because there's a lot of accountability measures and stuff in place. But if you look at there's been stats pulled of like courses and course sales, like 80% of people that purchase a course don't even like finish the whole thing or whatever, let alone like 1% is actually going to implement some of the teachings and stuff. Again, that'll happen less with a coaching program where you have accountability and all that. But yeah, like especially in an industry that's so rampant with that, like what are the commonalities in the people that don't take the action, that don't do some of that stuff?
So one thing that we actually just did a live training today on procrastination. So procrastination is probably one of the biggest reasons. I mean, I guess by definition, right, the reason why people don't take action as well as on the things that they know that they should. And so we talked, like we had 60 65 painters on our coaching call today, and we talked about procrastination for an hour, and I had a little poll, and I asked like, why are you procrastinating? And, is it, I'm just looking at the results here on the poll. We didn't do a very good poll, but sorry, why are you doing this? Is it for material wealth, providing for your family, or eventual time freedom, or securing your future? And so we had people vote on that. And then it was, there it is, overwhelm. So why do you think you procrastinate? Is it fear, overwhelm, environment, unclear, or uncertain what to do? And overwhelm was by far the biggest reason why people weren't taking action or were procrastinating, right? Like, how many times have you looked at your to-do list? It is a mile long.
Isn't that kind of ironic?
It's totally ironic.
You have too much to do, so then you end up not doing it.
Yeah.
Dude, one of my favorite quotes from one of my not so favorite coaches was action cures anxiety.
Yeah.
And it has a time and its place. It can be a dangerous one to lean on too much, but there's been times or two, like a time or two, where I've been super anxious. I've had so much on my list where I'm just like, F this, let me just stay up till 3 a.m. and get it all done. And then I would just be like, oh, and then I'd finally like sleep. And like, it was like, there's a time and a place for it, ironically. And I don't know if you've experienced those, but
I have. Yeah. I mean, it's easy to, like, when you look at the to-do list, you're just so overwhelmed. So you just like open up YouTube or open up Reddit and just like doom scroll and just have this like pit in your stomach. Like, why aren't I doing any work? And then you go to bed and you're just feeling worse. So action definitely cures it, but it does have to be like curated action. And that's why, not to self-fillet, but like having a coach is so valuable to like just point you in the right direction. It's like, hey, don't do this, do this. Like, I have a coach. I meet with my coach every week, and I'm like, Tom, I don't know what to do. I have too many things to do. Or like, I don't know what I should be doing today. He's like, Mike, how did this go? How did that go? How you doing this? How you doing here? Okay, you should do this and you should do that. Okay, so then I write those two things down. And then I know whenever I have time to work on my business, I look at my two priorities and I'm like, is what I'm doing furthering these two things? Yep. If it is, continue. If it's not, change what I'm doing to do something else to further these two things. So we're working on project, like right now, like we're working on Ascension, and we're like working on new enrollments. So those are kind of my two projects for this month. Is like, we have a few systems to build. So like, are the systems that I'm currently working on, is it furthering Ascension or new enrollments? If it's not doing either of those things, I'm just like screwing around, like creating a SOP for whatever billing, like sure, that needs to be done, but it doesn't have to be done now. It's not the most important thing.
This is literally my alarm telling me to go to bed. Just so you guys know. Just so you guys know. 9:45.
Is there like a bat flying around in your apartment and keep on looking around all crazy?
No, I thought I had to sneeze. So I was trying to look at the light, but it passed. Yeah. But no, you are 100% right. And I literally just had that conversation with my coach today. And just kind of reprioritizing, because we got a crap ton of moving pieces right now, and it doesn't help that we're out for Expo for a couple of days, and just kind of reprioritizing. One of my favorite exercises to do personally, Mike, I don't know if you do anything like this, or if you have your students or clients or whatever you call them, mentees, do this. But I will often, when I have that to-do list, I brain dump it all out, and then I categorize into what I call like A, B, and C level tasks. A levels are like, this has to get done like today, or whatever that urgent time frame period is. Maybe that's today and tomorrow before the weekend, whatever, has to get done. B level is like, if this got done, like it would be a win, like not an absolute requirement, but if we get to this, that would be a win. And I'd like to. C is like, I'm not even expecting to, and really does not need to happen.
Those things collect dust on your list.
Yeah, exactly. C level is like, for some reason you end up with that day where you're like bored and you're like, what should I work on today? Go to the C level task. Like there's something, and gradually sometimes something will be a C level, and 3 months later it'll be a high B level.
I actually cranked out a C level task today and felt really good. It's been like sitting there forever, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So do you do something similar like that?
So, when people join Painter Growth, they're like, I'm going to join to learn how to get leads and learn how to book sales and learn how to grow my company. And I'm like, yeah, you are going to learn that. But rug pull, there's actually some fundamentals you got to learn first.
Yep.
So we give all of our clients one of these. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but this is
No, I haven't.
our workbook, and it's constantly making it bigger and better. But pretty much the first thing, got some notes pages. The first thing we do is we have a 3-stage priority management template. And if anyone wants this template, I can give you a link for it for this podcast. But first thing we do, we have everyone do is a time audit. So we say minimum 3 days, but ideally 5 days, where we help you, you track your time on 15-minute increments to see what you're doing. And it's really dejecting to write down that you did 45 minutes of Reddit at 10 a.m. So you're not going to do that. You're going to be more productive, and you're going to see where you're wasting time. But so ideally you do 5 minutes of this, and you'll just are blown away. Everyone is just blown away by how much time they're wasting and how much more time they have in their day. The next thing that we have is once you do that, we have what we call a D sheet.
Yeah, I've seen you talk about this before.
And basically this one, you take every task that's important that you need to do from your daily time audit, and you put it in the D sheet, and you basically say, what is the hourly rate? How much does it cost to delegate this task? Does it have to be done by me? And then should I do it, delegate, or to dump it? So basically like prioritizing what you're currently doing. And then the final thing is, just like you said, a to-do list. So this is so that you can brain dump all of your tasks on a to-do list, and then take these things and put them into your schedule, right? What is a priority from 1 to 5? So instead of categorizing, we just have a 1 to 5 categorization. How much time is it going to take? What is a task? What are some notes or resources that I need? If anyone wants a copy of these 3 templates, I'll give them to you for your listeners. I'll just give you a download link. But go through that. You will save 10 hours per week of time and be a lot more organized with your tasks of what you need to do. So that's what we take people through before we go into lead generation and stuff.
Yeah, I love that. So that like time study, time audit is something we did as a team with one of the coaches I work with. Super eye-opening. It's a tough thing sometimes to get people to do. It's tough stopping what you're doing every 15 minutes, especially if you're
I say just catch up every couple of hours. Catch up every couple of hours. You can do that.
For sure. Yeah. It can be tough. I know sometimes people will struggle with it, but it's so valuable.
That's why I give it to them printed out, because then you don't have an excuse. It's like you don't have to go on your phone. You don't have to do an Excel document. You just pull up your notebook in your truck or whatever, and like every time you get in your truck, just fill it out.
Yeah. What'd you do the last couple hours?
Yeah.
I love that. Like you said at the beginning of this, we got this thing Expo coming up. A week from today, we'll be there. Pretty cool. Week from today.
I'm stoked, man.
Are you excited?
I am. I had Maggie on podcast last week. She was dropping
Maggie's
some bombs
awesome.
about it. Yeah, it was so fun. But yeah, I'm bringing some team. We got a big double booth right across from Sherwin. We're giving away 2 paint sprayers.
Dang.
We're giving away 2 quick shot ultras or whatever.
Dude, I should actually like enter these raffles and stuff this year. This
You
is
can.
weird.
Yeah, I see.
Not even just I can, like I actually should. I would have benefit.
Yeah, so we're gonna be giving those away. We got a QR code at our booth, and just like a short form to fill out to enter, and we're gonna be giving away 2 of them on like probably at like 1 o'clock on next Thursday. So that'd be really exciting. We're giving away 150 t-shirts. We got actually a really sick design that we're releasing for the expo. That's really cool. One of my CS manager, Anna, she went out of her way without even asking me. It was amazing. I loved it. And got a mascot design for our company, and it is badass. So I'm stoked to release that at the expo with 150 shirts, and hopefully they're shirts that people want to wear. They're pretty cool, I think.
That's sick. This is your first expo, right?
Yep.
Well, dude,
yeah, Maggie wouldn't give me a stage to myself, so she said next year. But I get it, Maggie.
That's funny. Yeah, gotta earn your stripes a little bit.
Yep, absolutely. No, I'll pay my dues. And then just a little quick plug: if anyone likes in-person events, I'm actually doing a mastermind, much smaller
in Cleveland.
One day, in just as an exciting of a city, in Minneapolis.
Oh, that's cool.
It's cool, and it's in April, and it's because actually largely, not entirely, but largely because Jason Paris and Nick Slavic are going to be making appearances and speaking and doing some presentations. So it'll be small, probably like 20, 30 contractors and team and stuff. And we're going to do stuff like Top Golf and have some great food and great times and maybe a couple great cocktails and just like much smaller, like kind of work on your business for 2 full days instead of like just taking information. I really like the collaborative type, like walk away with a plan type event. I find them really impactful.
Yeah, especially if you can get the right mix of both, which can be tough. But yeah, you can get the right mix of both.
Yeah, we did like last one we did in Phoenix in November. And I think we probably, Jesse and I think we facilitated like 4 sessions, maybe 3.5 sessions. And then the rest was like implementation, like working on your goals, problem solving, hot seats, specific strategic plan, things like that. It was awesome. Got great feedback from it and looking to do something like that again, just like slightly bigger.
Yeah, I love that. Well, if you ever did want to host an event in Cleveland, I'm just saying.
You get Heidi there. You get Heidi there. I'm in.
Oh, Heidi's the CEO of Sherwin.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll see what we can pull together. So I actually didn't know. Did you guys? I just found this out a couple months ago. You guys know Worcester Brush Company, right? Mm-hmm. Mike definitely does. Corinne, you're like, I think I do.
Know the brand.
Do you? Okay, good, cool. Okay, I'll take that. I wouldn't have expected you to, Corinne. So Worcester Brush Company is actually based out of Worcester, Ohio. Duh, who would have thought?
No way.
So there's a Worcester, which I knew Worcester, Ohio existed. It's about an hour south of here.
Guess what they make in Hershey, Pennsylvania?
I know, right? But I went to school in Ashland, Ohio for a year. That's where I actually got started in the whole remodeling company that I always talk about. And that's Worcester's like, I think about 30 minutes or so from Ashland. So when I put 2 and 2 together and like their factories there, I'm like, dang, dude, you got Sherwin and Worcester. It's like, people say Minneapolis is paint mecca because they got like Greco and they got Jason Phillips and Nick Slavic, but like, or Jason Paris, sorry, and Nick Slavic. Come on. Ohio's got Greco. They're not Greco. I keep messing my words. It's too late for this. Worcester and Sherwin.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Ohio might be paint mecca, man.
Ohio might be it. But you might need more than that to get me to do a mastermind in Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, well, Phoenix was good. Phoenix was a good spot in November. Everyone's like ready to go to Phoenix in November. So we might go back again this November. That was pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, maybe in due time. We'll see. Yep. But dude, that's really all I got. It's 10 o'clock here now. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. Hopefully people enjoyed this. Mike, we'll have that resource pinned in the description for people to check out. Give me a link. I'll make sure it's there so people can check it out. I think you shared a lot of really good stuff. Anything else? Where can people find you?
Yeah, man, paintergrowth.com. That's check it out. We've got lots of stories, free resources. We got our podcast, the Painter Growth Podcast, which is a lot of fun. Got like 60 episodes already, growing pretty quickly, and just give it a ton of really good value. Honestly, if you like dig around on my site and YouTube page and podcasts like for long enough, you can find like a good chunk of like our paid like behind the scenes resources.
Yeah.
And like in the words of Alex Hormozy, if you don't give away your best stuff for free, they're going to think all your stuff sucks. So we give away our best stuff, and we give away the information, sell the implementation. So if you want help, you want the accountability, you want the support, that's what we do. But that's for another day. Too late to pitch tonight.
I love that. Well, let me also say this before we wrap up, actually, because it'd be very easy to not give credit where credit's due. I want to give you a shout out, Mike. As I've been building my painting company, I've pulled like little bits from everything. And it's been the coolest part because like I know all these people from the marketing company. I get to, Jason Phillips did this really well. And ooh, I like how Slavic did this and Tanner does this. And it's been really, really fun. A couple things I've taken from you, which I don't even know if you know, I'm sure you do because you helped you. When I did your podcast, I think afterwards you were like, yo, check this out, whatever. But I love calling my crew leads job site managers instead of crew leads. I know it's such a small thing, but it was like when we switched in our marketing company, like instead of account managers to marketing coaches, it's like that's more of what they're actually doing. And it changed a lot of morale and everything. Similar. I love that. You were the one that told me on our bonus structure as we were still kind of in the revision structure. And now we've got the most kick-ass bonus structure. You were the one that was like, don't give them 75% of the overage hours, give them 100% of it. So I just played with it a little bit. And I was like, oh, no. And I just kind of like I was like, I'll just leave it like that for a week. Way better that way. Have and I want to say it was your expectation doc. I think that was you, not Slavic, as well. That
We have some of those, yeah.
like the painter expectation doc that you have them sign it.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yep.
I'm sure I've changed it. I know I've changed parts of it and stuff, but like that original like structure and formatting. And what I've actually started doing is I go over that in their interview process. So we've kind of switched our second interview process where like if they are a good candidate, we're pretty sure we're gonna make an offer to them. Basically extend the interview by 20, 30 minutes and go through like almost like the first step of onboarding. And like experienced painters are like drooling. They're like, this is amazing. But part of that is that expectation doc, which definitely came from you as well. So
that's great. And actually, that's what most people do with our stuff. Like we have the resources and templates for like everything, and people take it and like almost no one uses it
exactly
off the
how
cart,
it
right?
is.
Like you take it, you make it your own. It's like, oh, I don't like this. Oh, we don't really do this type of thing, but like we want to do more of this. You edit it, you make it your own, but it's like having that template to get you like 90% of the way there is just like so nice. Like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path. Oh, I didn't even know I needed something like this. It's like, I didn't even know I needed a way to track my painter's hours on a daily basis. Or I didn't even know I needed a job site checklist on wrap up. Like I didn't know I needed that, but okay, well, here's one, here's how to use it. And then because you use it, you're not going to have these challenges anymore. So it's like you don't know what you don't know until you see it done right.
Yeah, no, 100%. And sometimes it's just a way to get your ideas going too, right? Like I think of Slavic's jump sheet that I took, and the current jump sheet we use, like it's not even recognizable of his. Like nobody would look at these two and think these are in any way alike. Ours has code embedded into it to automate some part of the job costing based on the hours with it. Like it's totally, but it's like his gave me like a idea to be like, all right, let me take this and change this. And now
That's all it takes.
6 months
That's
later,
all
it's
it takes. You're
evolved.
way
and
better
we're
because you
amazing.
had the template, even if the template doesn't look like what you're using now.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to give you a shout out because those things are things that have stuck from little tips and stuff you gave me at some point.
Appreciate it, man. I'm glad that you
speaking
found
to
value in
them.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to give credit where credit's due.
Well, thanks for having me on, brother.
Absolutely, brother. We'll post all the stuff in the description, and I will catch y'all on the next episode. Peace out.
Yeah.